Welcome in. This is Chiefs Chase. My name is Mike Bassano, and thank you so much for joining me as the Kansas City Chiefs are 5-3.
Kansas City continuing to hit their stride.
No doubt. As Rice makes the catch for the touchdown.
The Chiefs beat the Washington Commanders 28-7 in a game where it was a tale of two halves. The first half, the Chiefs came out and they looked flat. They looked like they were looking forward to Buffalo in 6 days, which is a big-time game that we will talk about at the end of this show. But in the second half, I would love to know, absolutely love to know, what was said at halftime in the Kansas City Chiefs locker room, because something pretty spectacular must have been said, because they came out and absolutely dominated the second half in every single possible way. Offensively, defensively, special teams, except for the penalties, which there were quite a few on them today, dominated the entire game top to bottom in the second half. Patrick Mahomes exploded. Travis Kelce went off. The Chiefs defense suffocated Marcus Mariota and the Washington Commanders, and we ended up with a game that was absolutely what everyone expected, which was a big win for the Kansas City Chiefs. They were favored by 11.5 points. They obviously covered, winning by 21, 28-7. Total yards. We'll get to one guy who's playing like it's 2018. Get to that in a few minutes. But total yards for the Kansas City Chiefs, 432 to Commanders 260. And considering most of the Chiefs' yards were in the second half, the second half comparison is much more lopsided, as in the second half, the Chiefs really did become the Chiefs. It's okay to have a trap game. It's okay to overlook an opponent if you're good enough to get it right by halftime. And that's what the Chiefs did. They got it right by halftime. They absolutely overlooked this game. I mean, they came out flat. They came out like, man, we got to do another primetime game. We have a short week for Buffalo. We got to focus on the Bills, man. We got to go to Buffalo. That's a tough game. So that's what the first half looked like. The second half, they locked in. First downs, Chiefs 26, Commanders 14. So really a lopsided victory by every definition. But if you watched the game, you know 7-7 at the end of the first half. That's not what we expected at the end of the first half for the Kansas City Chiefs, was 7-7, but it ends 28-7 in a big 21-point victory for the Kansas City Chiefs. Also, one player, just the luckiest thing to ever happen to Kansas City. We'll tell you who that is coming up here in just a second. But Patrick Mahomes is playing like it's 2018, an absolute monster in the second half for Kansas City. There is a reason why Patrick Mahomes is the favorite to win the MVP. And it's because he has games like the second half that he just had against the Washington Commanders, where the Chiefs offense seemingly couldn't get anything going. They had issues the entire first half, and then in the second half, number 15 does what he does. Put on the Superman cape, starts rolling out to the outsides, getting his feet moving. That's big for Patrick Mahomes. And then throwing strikes downfield on the run. That is vintage 2018 Patrick Mahomes, and what we told you all offseason was going to happen. And I know people go, well, Mike's just a glazer. He doesn't blah, 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 blah. All the excuses that all of you threw at me in the offseason about Patrick Mahomes when I was telling you this was his MVP resurgence and the best offense the Kansas City Chiefs have had since 2018. And Patrick Mahomes, he might not throw 50 touchdowns, but he's playing better than anyone on the planet right now. And that second half that he had against the Washington Commanders, it was everything that Patrick Mahomes does well. He got out of the pocket. He manipulated the defense by using his eyes. He threw strikes to players all over the field. He leaned on Travis Kelce, which is always going to be a safety blanket for him. He got Rashee Rice involved. They gave him quick passes. They gave him downfield passes. He improvised.
Was in meetings and then got to ramp up prior to last week as Mahomes finds Gray and gets a wow from
Patrick Mahomes is at his absolute best when he's improvising on the field, and we saw nonstop improvisation tonight against the Washington Commanders, where he rolls out and he just kind of makes it up as he goes. And people have to understand, the Chiefs practice this stuff. When Mahomes is rolling out and guys are finding space, even Noah Gray getting involved in that, they understand through feeling what Patrick Mahomes wants them to do. So they find areas in the zone, these soft spots. They settle down. They run with Mahomes. They also sometimes run against Mahomes because he can throw the ball back across his body, back against the grain, and still have a fantastic strike thrown normally on a third down that bails out the Chiefs' offense. You want to know the difference between Andy Reid now and Andy Reid before Patrick Mahomes? Before Mahomes, Andy Reid for his entire career had to call a perfect game. And now he doesn't have to do that. Now he has a guy who's one of the greatest improvisational players in the history of football as his quarterback. And he shows us every single game that he is one of the greatest things that we've ever seen when he just makes it up as he goes. So Andy Reid doesn't have to call a perfect game. He doesn't have to be great at clock management. He doesn't have to be a great play caller. He just has to be really good because Patrick Mahomes is the type of talent to take you from good to great. And that's what he's done for Andy Reid in Kansas City. Mahomes ends with 25 of 34, 299 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. One of those interceptions, a bounce off of out of Travis Kelce's helmet to Bobby Wagner, and then another one where Lattimore just got over and made a great play on the sideline on what was supposed to be a back shoulder throw to Hollywood Brown. So an unbelievably MVP-type performance for Patrick Mahomes. An absolute juggernaut of a quarterback and really the greatest thing to ever happen to the Kansas City Chiefs, even though it's a domino effect, right? Clark Hunt goes and gets Andy Reid. Andy Reid hires Brett Veach. Brett Veach and Andy Reid get along. Brett Veach finds Patrick Mahomes. They sell him on George. I mean, there's a lot of steps. But if you look at it in a vacuum, you would be hard-pressed to find anybody in the entire Chiefs organization that has transformed the Chiefs organization quite like Patrick Mahomes. Though even saying that, I'm thinking Andy Reid, I'm thinking Travis Kelce. Obviously, it all starts with Clark. There's a lot of credit to go around, but obviously, we're giving a lot of that credit to Patrick Mahomes II. Now, Isaiah Pacheco, wait till you see his line. I don't know. We have some interesting things about Pacheco coming up in just a few minutes. But first,
2nd and 6. Mahomes, end zone, caught by Kelce. Touchdown.
age is just a number for Travis Kelce, man. He came out and played a phenomenal second half. What an absolute unit to take a big mistake that he had in the first part of the game and go, no. I don't go out like that. I'm going to turn it on, lock in, and have a big-time performance with 99 yards and a touchdown, getting out in the open field and showing everybody that it doesn't matter if he's 36 years old, if he's 100 years old, if he's 136 years old, it doesn't matter because Travis Kelce just has it like that. He has the size-speed combo even at 36 years old to make any defense in the NFL look absolutely clueless, and that should make every team in the league terrified that number 15 and number 87, they don't just do steakhouses, they do touchdowns. And right now they're clicking on all cylinders, and that is what should strike fear into the Buffalo Bills and every other team in the NFL. Travis Kelce, when he makes a big mistake, you almost can guarantee he's going to have a big game. If it's early, right? Against the Eagles, it was different because it was late in the game. When he has an early mistake, you can almost guarantee that Travis is going to come back and not only make up for that mistake, but have potentially a monstrous game. And he did. Against the Commanders tonight, Travis Kelce ends up with 6 receptions, 99 yards, and a touchdown. And he had some pivotal catches in this game, not just the touchdown, but that play where he was in blocking for Mahomes. Mahomes buying time, offensive line doing a pretty good job in the second half. After an iffy first half of protection, they really dialed it in the second half. So while Mahomes is trying to buy that time, trying to get away in the pocket, Travis Kelce just kind of turns, looks at him, and he goes, oh, I should get outside. Goes into the flat, says, hey, Pat, I'm right here.
Results up to this point.
Mahomes has all day. Kelce leaks out. He's got a ton of room in front of him. Sanders still brings him down to save the touchdown.
Boom. Monstrous game by Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. The greatest connection in the history of the NFL. And that's a factual statement when you look at postseason numbers. Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, the greatest connection of all time, has not changed one bit. I don't think this is Travis Kelce's last season, guys. I got to be honest with you. He's playing at a level that makes you think he could go another year or two in the NFL. That man has found the fountain of youth. Maybe that's Taylor Swift. Maybe she's the fountain of youth, because you're watching him out there right now at 36 years old. You could have told me during the second half of that Commanders game that it was 2022, and watching Travis Kelce, I would have believed you. I would have said, yeah, it's 2022. Look at him. Look how fast he is. Look how good he is at finding space, using his body, playing basketball on the back end. That's vintage Travis Kelce. And not only did he do that against the Commanders, he's been doing that all year. So somehow Travis Kelce has been able to turn the clock back, where the idea of him retiring at the end of this year, get out of town. That man is coming back. I can already feel it. And even before the year, I was like, let's give it some time. Let's give it some time. Let's see. I wouldn't call it his last ride just yet, especially when we showed up to St. Joe. In St. Joe, Travis Kelce looked like it wasn't over. He didn't look like a guy who was coming to for a kind of a last ride, a victory lap season, if you will. No, in St. Joe, Travis Kelce looked like he came ready to work. And Patrick Mahomes, after the game, said that Travis Kelce is the leader of their team. He's the emotional leader. He sets the tone. He's in early. He leaves late. He is that guy. And you know what? Think about everything Travis Kelce has going on. For him to show up late or show up early and leave late from the facility, to be so locked into football despite everything he has, and not just with Taylor, but Jason and Travis have a fairly successful podcast, if you haven't heard. I mean, he's got a lot of stuff on his plate. He's got a lot of stuff going on. Not just the GQ spread. I'm laughing because I'm thinking of the pictures. I'll throw one up on the YouTube. If you're on Spotify, you can Google it. The Travis Kelce GQ pictures, man. Oh, somebody he like put on those clothes and set up and now do a pouty face. Zoolander Kelce. You gotta love it, man. That's awesome. So it's not just GQ with him, man. He is an absolute monster. And he's a guy that's going to be, I think, in this league for quite a bit of time. I expect him to be back next year, and maybe the next year after that, too. Sometimes guys just sort of find the fountain of youth, which is eating right, exercising, doing all the right things instead of partying. That's part of it. That's part of it. So big game by Travis Kelce. Again, 6 receptions, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Also, we have one player where it's really the luckiest thing to happen to Kansas City. We'll tell you who that is in just a second. But Isaiah Pacheco had a solid night. Did he not? Did we not see Isaiah Pacheco have a solid night? He has 12 carries for 58 yards, which is over 4 yards per carry, which is something we've been looking for from Isaiah Pacheco. Unfortunately, on the tail end of his great night, he took a shot to the knee, and it looked like he hyperextended it. He went and they looked at the trainers, they looked at it, they did the whole thing. They said they think it's good. And he grabbed his helmet, limped his way over to Andy Reid, like, all right, I'm good. Let's go. They didn't put him back in. They shouldn't have put him back in. The game was in hand. They don't need him. He's doing a lot of great things for this team. He isn't at the level we were hoping he was at, but he had a great night against the Commanders, averaged over 4 yards per carry. His knee looks healthy, and I'll say this for Isaiah Pacheco on top of everything. I'm still someone who says, go get a running back. You want to elevate this offense. There are elevated running backs out there. It doesn't mean Hunt, Pacheco, Smith. Doesn't mean anybody's bad. It just means this is a really competitive season. And if you look around the NFL, there are 12 Super Bowl contenders right now, and that's honestly you could say 14. So with 12 to 14 legitimate Super Bowl contenders right now, you got to try to elevate, because at the trade deadline, everyone's going to try to find that one missing piece. While I see the Chiefs going defensive line, I'm not ruling out running back. But all of that said, Isaiah Pacheco is one tough SOB, man. There was never a second where Isaiah Pacheco felt like he was going to come out of that game. He was upset they even had to go look at him on the sideline. And we saw the hit. He hyperextended that knee. But Pacheco wanted no parts of being on the sideline. The second The trainer gave him the okay. He's on his feet. He's got his helmet. He's limping up to Andy Reid and saying, all right, coach, I'm ready to go. Put me back in. They didn't put him back in. They shouldn't have, because he just took a shot to his knee and the Chiefs were up by 3 touchdowns. It would have been really stupid to put Isaiah Pacheco back in that game. But it speaks to the toughness of Isaiah Pacheco that he wanted to go back into that game. And no matter what happens with Isaiah for the rest of his time in Kansas City, whether he elevates and becomes a big-time 100-yard game back, or if he ends up continuing to be somewhat of a middling back, no matter what happens, he is one of the toughest players to ever put on a Chiefs uniform and has been a big part of multiple Super Bowl teams. So Isaiah Pacheco forever, man. Awesome night for him tonight. Now, we have to talk about a guy for the Kansas City Chiefs who has not missed a beat. Get to him here in just a few minutes. But first, I know some people get annoyed at the but first. I'll do them less. I will. I'll do the but first less, but I will do it very emphatically when I do it. So, but first.
Mahomes out to his right. Back across for the touchdown.
Kareem Hunt's the luckiest thing to ever happen to Kansas City, because he shouldn't even have been available last year in September, sitting on his couch wondering if an NFL team was going to call, and now he's the greatest short yardage back in the NFL and one of the greatest short yardage backs in NFL history. In fact, I was thinking about this. When's the last time in Kansas City you had a short yardage back that was this automatic within 5 yards? The answer to that question is Marcus Allen. You could point to Larry Johnson, you could point to Priest Holmes, but nobody was as consistently efficient in short yardage running as Kareem Hunt is, other than Marcus Allen in Kansas City. So that's the level of play, Hall of Fame level of short yardage back play that we're seeing out of Kareem Hunt this season, and it has helped the Chiefs exponentially. I don't even think you can fully quantify how much it helps the Kansas City Chiefs that on any short yardage situation, they just hand the ball to number 29 and don't even think about it. And credit to the offensive line, too. They were pushing up front. There were times it was 3rd and 1, 4th and short, whatever, and Kareem Hunt didn't get touched for 3 yards. That's the offensive line as well. So with Kareem Hunt and that offensive line, the Chiefs in short yardage situations are more successful than the Eagles with their tush push. You can go to any of my social media. I did a post about that Monday, the day of the game, today. I did a post about how Kareem Hunt statistically is actually more automatic than the tush push is for the Eagles. And that's incredible. So the Chiefs have, I think, a real gift and a gift for Kansas City, because he shouldn't have been there. Best short yardage back in the NFL is just hanging out at home last September. That's incredible. And credit to Brett Veach and the Chiefs for reaching out and getting him, putting him in his position to be successful. All those things are very much a great reflection of the Kansas City Chiefs. But at the same time, it's a little lucky that Kareem Hunt was even available last year when Isaiah Pacheco went down with a broken leg, that the Chiefs could call Kareem Hunt, because I think he helped save last season, and he's definitely helping this season. My goodness. Touchdown catch also for Isaiah Pacheco, or for Kareem Hunt, as he had 9 carries for 40 yards and a touchdown on the ground, and then 1 reception for a touchdown through the air. And that touchdown was extremely impressive because he was in the block. That was all Kareem Hunt was doing. But then, much like Travis Kelce earlier, Kareem Hunt saw Patrick Mahomes leaking out to the right side, starting to scramble, starting to look downfield. And what did Hunt do? He just broke to space. That's all he did. He broke to space. He saw an opening in the end zone. He goes, well, Pat's going to see me if I get there. That's part of the nice thing about having a Hall of Fame generational talent at quarterback, is that if you do have a situation where the play breaks down, as a teammate, you don't think, well, we're screwed. No, you think, if I can get open, Pat's going to hit me with a touchdown. Travis Kelce and Kareem Hunt both did that tonight against the Commanders. And on that touchdown, Kareem Hunt just saw open space and said, hey, if I run there, touchdown. And there it was. Great play by Kareem Hunt. Phenomenal play by Patrick Mahomes, as these boys really turned it on in the second half and gave us quite a show at Arrowhead Stadium. The Chiefs had a big-time breakout defensive player this week that we have got to talk about next. But Rashee Rice hasn't missed a beat, and that has become abundantly clear as second that he got back onto the field from his 6-game suspension, and tonight he goes off with 9 receptions, 93 yards, and a touchdown. Rashee Rice is already showing that he's a premier wide receiver in the NFL. Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, Malik Neighbors, you're all on notice. I've said it before, I'll say it again. Rashee Rice is an upper echelon wide receiver in the NFL. And you know what? Everybody's going to say it. After he has his first 1,500-yard receiving season, after he has his first All-Pro, after he scores 15 touchdowns in a season, everybody's going to say, oh, yeah, Rashee Rice is upper echelon. But I'm telling you right now, before any of that stuff happens, Rashee Rice is a top-flight wide receiver in the NFL. He is not middle. He's not second tier. He is first tier. He is up with the top, the cream of the crop talent in the NFL. Rashee Rice is right there with him, and the Chiefs have never had a wide receiver like him, except maybe Otis Taylor. Yeah, we're going back to the Len Dawson Chiefs of Super Bowl IV to find a wide receiver the Chiefs have had that's comparable in a size-speed combo like Rashee Rice. Because Dwayne Bowe had great size, great catching ability, great ball skills, but he was a little slow. Tyreek Hill, extremely fast, good ball skills as well, great deep ball catcher, little undersized. Rashee Rice has a size-speed combo we haven't seen in Kansas City since Otis Taylor in the 1960s and 70s. And that's how special of a talent Rashee Rice is and how incredibly great of a fit he is with Patrick Mahomes in this offense because they lined him up at running back. Did you see that? Running back Rashee Rice, baby. And what do they do there? Well, now he can go one way or the other, and nobody who's going to be guarding him in the middle of the field is going to have enough speed to stay with him. So that's a play that gets Rashee Rice in space, which Rashee Rice in space, it's over, baby. He's getting a big play no matter what. And he did it multiple times against the Commanders, and I expect to see even more of that against the Buffalo Bills, as with a big-time 93-yard, 1-touchdown game, Rashee Rice solidifies himself as not only the number 1 wide receiver in Kansas City, but the number 1 wide receiver on most teams in the NFL.
Kansas City continuing to hit their stride.
No doubt. As Rice makes the catch for the touchdown.
I did a post about this, but I will bring it up. I did it right after the game. Rashee Rice had a graphic from ESPN pop up that showed what happened on his suspension after he threw the ball and it hit, I think Bullard was the guy that it hit for the Commanders. He was trying to throw the ball to the official after a catch. Accidentally hit the Commanders player, got flagged 15 yards. That's okay. That happens. Misunderstandings happen. But for ESPN to throw up that graphic, man, I was like, what in the world are you doing? Felt like dirty pool. And it felt like they were trying to create a thug narrative around Rashee Rice because they waited. They didn't do this to start the game. They didn't show that after. They had the Rashee Rice criminal graphic ready to go for ESPN. And the second that they got a personal foul penalty on him, they're like, oh, and by the way, he was suspended for 6 games. He got charged with all the stuff that it was like a rap sheet. If you're on YouTube, I'll throw it up there. I was really upset by that, honestly. I was really upset. Rashee Rice didn't deserve that, man. Do they do this to be inflammatory? We saw Amazon do this with Tyreek Hill earlier this year, but ESPN, like all that stuff, are they just doing it to be inflammatory, to get clicks, to get people to be talking about them? I wonder, because apparently they didn't learn from Amazon that, like, that's not something. This isn't even an open suspension. Honestly, in a lot of ways, the Tyreek Hill graphic made more sense because it was something pending against Tyreek Hill that was a question mark and what's going to happen. Rashee Rice, that's just bringing up old stuff. He served his suspension. He's gone through the legal process. The situation has been handled. It's over. And ESPN's going to bring it up again just because, oh, he got a personal foul penalty. Quick, get the Rashee Rice crime graphic. What the hell are we doing? That's insane. I was on the live when this happened, and I honestly, at the first point, I was like, that makes me feel like sick to my stomach and not good at all. Looking at what ESPN's doing to Rashee Rice, like that's what that is. So I asked the live, I'm like, am I crazy? Am I like the only one? Because everybody can comment on the live feed while it's happening. And I said, am I nuts? This feels bad. Feels like something they shouldn't have done. And the overwhelming response was that people agreed. They believed that, yeah, this isn't something that should be put up during the football game, especially at a personal foul penalty that was just a simple misunderstanding. And congrats to Andy Reid. Good on him for putting Rashee Rice back in the game once Rashee explained to him that he was trying to throw the ball to the official. It just happened to hit a Commanders player in the head. He immediately took the fine, said, my bad. He didn't get involved in the scuffle that happened right after it. He was like, nope. So, he did everything right. He just made a mistake. So Andy put him back in there. It's just kind of garbage that ESPN would stoop to putting up that graphic. Like, dude, what? They employed Troy Aikman. We'll get to that here in a minute. In fact, we'll get to that in a few minutes. I want to get to that in just a few minutes. But first, Mike Danna playing like Frank Clark. Big interception, big sack. Mike Danna emerging against the Commanders as a big-time player for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Here's Samuel, and it's off his hands and picked off. Intercepted by Danna.
A player at a position where they really need somebody to step up. We've been asking all season, when are the Chiefs going to get a defensive end to be across from George Karlaftis? Yeah, Charles Menahue's playing well, but they need another piece there. They need another guy. Someone's got to step up. They got to take the bull by the horns. Enter Mike Danna, who had a big-time hustle interception on Deebo Samuel. Yeah, it was Marcus Mariota's interception, but the ball popped off of Deebo Samuel's face mask. And Mike Danna, because he was hustling, and I tell you this from the bottom of my heart, the football gods reward hustle every time. So when Mike Danna sees the ball get thrown from Marcus Mariota out into the flat for a screen pass to Deebo Samuel, he just turns and starts charging. He starts chugging towards Samuel. So when the ball inexplicably pops off Deebo Samuel's face mask, it falls right in the lap of a hustling Mike Danna. That's the kind of guy that you want to see playing for the Kansas City Chiefs and playing significant snaps for the Kansas City Chiefs. Great work by Mike Danna. Outstanding work by Mike Danna. And then on the sack, that's got to be the easiest sack Mike Danna's had in his entire life. Just a miscommunication by the Commanders, and it was caused by Steve Spagnuolo. We talk about Spags all the time on this show, and we're going to do it again. On the play where Mike Danna got a huge sack, which resulted in the Commanders having to punt, he went untouched. Now, why did this happen? If you watch, Chamari Connor came up towards the line of scrimmage like he was going to blitz. He edged up, and then right when the snap happened, he pulls back. Well, then that confused the offensive lineman. He's waiting for this guy to blitz. He doesn't come. Danna runs right past him, and nobody touches Mike Danna. The easiest sack of Mike Danna's career, I have to believe, because a straight beeline to Marcus Mariota, and Mariota had no choice but to just crumple up and go down for a loss of 10 yards. Mike Danna, what a game. We've been waiting for somebody to step up on that defensive line. Mike Danna did it tonight. I still think the Chiefs will trade for an interior defensive lineman. I don't think they get an edge rusher. I think once Omar Norman-Lott's torn ACL became a reality, the Chiefs then started to look at, okay, what can we do on the interior? So I think a Kalen Saunders or a Mike Pennell potentially coming back to Kansas City is your most likely scenario there. But Mike Danna needs to play edge, and that is a huge deal that he had a big game against the Commanders tonight, because that instills a lot of confidence in me and hopefully in you that Mike Danna can get the job done. All right, now there's one unsung hero for the Chiefs we have to get to, and then we will get to the Chiefs and Bills to wrap things up here on Chiefs Chase as the Chiefs beat the Commanders 28-7, going 5-3. Let's go. Troy Aikman is so jealous of Patrick Mahomes. Just listening to him on ESPN during a Chiefs game is one of the more infuriating things you could ever endure as a Chiefs fan, because this is a guy that was calling out Patrick Mahomes back in 2018, trying to defend his lack of a legacy. Because let's not forget, the Dallas Cowboys had Emmitt Smith in the best offensive line and the best defense in the NFL. Troy Aikman was carried to 3 Super Bowls. Patrick Mahomes has carried the Chiefs to 3 Super Bowls. So these two people are not the same. And when Patrick Mahomes was hit with a blatant roughing the passer penalty, where the whistle had been blown 4 yards before as he was getting pulled back, 4 yards before he was then slammed to the ground, a penalty every time. Troy Aikman's got this snarky response saying, well, they're definitely going to protect the quarterback, especially this one. The jealousy just oozes out of Troy Aikman's pores. You can see what a pathetic human being he is on every single level, and that's why he tries to cut down Patrick Mahomes, because Patrick Mahomes is a constant reminder that Troy Aikman was never that good, and he was a very lucky quarterback because he got to have Jimmy Johnson, Emmitt Smith, Deion Sanders, Ken Norton. We'll just keep going down the list of amazing players that played for the Dallas Cowboys that weren't named Troy Aikman, because he was not one of them. Okay, unsung hero for the Kansas City Chiefs, and then we're going to get to the Bills. Jamaree Conner has had a really nice season for Kansas City under the radar, man. He's always around the ball. He led the team in tackles again against the Commanders. He's always right where the action is, and he's flying all over the field. He's had his moments this season that he wants back, like the pass interference penalty against Jacksonville. But since that moment, that pass interference penalty against Jacksonville, Jamaree Conner's been all on point. And yeah, it's only been a couple of games since then, right? It's been 3 games. Lions, 3 wins since Jacksonville, because they were 2-3. They're now 5-3. So in the next 3 games, Jamaree Conner's been an outstanding player. He's all around the field. He's always making tackles. Wherever the ball is, Jamaree Conner is. And that's a guy that you always want on your defense. A man that's led the Chiefs in tackles against the Commanders and a few other times this year. So the more Jamaree Conner that we see all over the field, the better, because apparently when he plays well, this defense plays beautifully across the board. He kind of takes over. And when I was thinking about it tonight when I was watching Jamaree Conner against the Commanders. I was thinking Jamaree Conner is the new honey badger for the Chiefs. That's how Steve Spagnuolo is using him. He's everywhere on the field. He's jackknifing, man. He's a Swiss Army knife, man. You just put him anywhere where you think he might fit, and Jamaree Conner's going to make a play. That's why he led the team in tackles again against the Commanders, and he seems to be a guy that Steve Spagnuolo really trusts in open field tackle situations, which in the NFL, so much of every offense is about getting someone in open field in a one-on-one opportunity to beat one defender and go to the crib. So many NFL offenses, so much of every NFL offense is predicated on that. So when you have a guy like Jamaree Conner or Tyrann Mathieu who can make a great open field tackle, that is worth its weight in gold. And over the last 3 games, we've seen Jamaree Conner be used as that Swiss Army knife like Tyrann Mathieu for Spags' defense. I mean, it's beautiful to see what Jamaree Conner's accomplished. Not enough people are going to talk about it, and that's fine. That's part of life. But he is an unsung hero of the Kansas City Chiefs. Make absolutely no mistake about that. On to the Bills. That's everything we got for the Commanders, man. So if you're just watching for the Commanders stuff, that's fine. But we got some Bills stuff to get to as the Chiefs take on the Bills in Buffalo Sunday. The Chiefs open as a road favorite in this game, which is shocking for a lot of people. The Bills have a better record. However, the Bills' defense leaves a lot left to be desired, and I think a lot of people see the Chiefs as a stronger team top to bottom than the Bills. I see the Chiefs as a stronger team, but I think they're just different teams. And I'll explain why in a few minutes. But opening as a road favorite in Buffalo is huge. But the biggest key to me, and this is why I see these two teams as different, the Chiefs are so predicated on the wide receivers and Patrick Mahomes. Buffalo Bills are predicated on Josh Allen and James Cook. Dalton Kincaid's having a nice year too, but he's not really the straw that stirs the drink. So the biggest key to this game, just looking out, we'll do a midweek blitz and we'll go deeper into this. But the biggest key to the Chiefs and the Chiefs, let me rephrase this. The biggest key to shutting down the Buffalo Bills is not Josh Allen. It's James Cook. If you let James Cook, the running back for the Buffalo Bills, run wild on you, he will have a field day, and the Bills become an almost unstoppable organism for any football team. So you have to make Josh Allen beat you. He can. We've seen it. But if you let James Cook beat you, then you never have a chance. That's when the Bills blow teams out, when they can just hand the ball to James Cook and let him run roughshod over the defense. So the number one priority for the Chiefs has to be containing Cook, not letting him get the big runs, the big chunk plays. Keep him to those short gains, make him earn everything, and then you force Josh Allen to have to throw to beat you. That's how you beat the Bills. It's very hard to do, and Josh Allen can throw to beat you. It's why they're a really good team. They're a contender for a reason. But when the Chiefs go to Buffalo and they have to try to find a way to game plan against one of the juggernauts of the NFL, the number one thing to stop. People are going to think it's Josh Allen. It's not. It's running back James Cook. Now, the Bills are coming off a blowout. I think that's a good thing. I want a team coming off a blowout. They think almost 40-6, maybe 40-9, something like that against Carolina. Absolute drumming, man. The Bills just came out and put it on them. But I want to see a team after a big blowout. I want to see a team that thinks they're unstoppable, because I'll tell you what we saw tonight for the Kansas City Chiefs against the Commanders in the first half was a team that came off a game that made them feel untouchable. A 31-0 drumming of the Las Vegas garbage Raiders. The Chiefs came out of that game thinking, man, we just come out and we just crush. That's what we do. Then they came out in the first half against the Commanders, and they looked like a team who thought they could just roll their helmets out at Arrowhead and they would crush the Commanders. And with the score being 7-7 at halftime, they got a pretty big wake-up call. I think that's good for the Chiefs that they got a wake-up call in the first half against the Commanders, because now, going up against Buffalo, there's no misgivings or ideas that they're good enough to go just roll their helmets out against any team. They have to be focused 100% from the jump. That way you don't have some first half performance like they had against the Commanders at Arrowhead. It's a good wake-up call for them to have going into this Bills game, and with a short week, the Chiefs can use every advantage they could possibly fathom. And I'm telling you, sputtering in the first half against DC is going to come back for Kansas City in their favor as they go forward to get ready for the Buffalo Bills, because the Bills are probably walking around feeling a little bit invincible after their blowout victory, and it's up to the Kansas City Chiefs to wipe that smile, that big grin right off Josh Allen's face.
2nd and 6. Mahomes, end zone, caught by Kelsey, touchdown.
With these
No sluggish start in Buffalo is coming. We will have a midweek blitz to dive deeper into this game. And thank you so much for joining me and having a blast with me here on Chiefs Chase as the Kansas City Chiefs win 28-7 over the Commanders. A brilliant second half performance and an outstanding performance by Patrick Mahomes once again. This has been Chiefs Chase. Keep up on the socials: TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, wherever you get your shorts. I'm there. But if you just like the long form show, absolutely hang out with me. We'll do the long form show for the midweek blitz, and we'll definitely be there on Thursday Night Football as we are every Thursday. We'll be all over the place. So stay tuned. But again, if you just like the long form show, thank you. I appreciate you so much. This is the most fun part of my week all the time. So thank you for allowing me to do that with you, because the more the merrier. But I appreciate every single one of you. Even if it was just one person, I'm still doing this show for that one person to the best of my abilities, because I just love doing this so freaking much, man. Have a great night. Have a great rest of your week. And I will see you on the Midweek Blitz.